Ooh, welcome everyone to another episode of Slasher Scotty. I am your host, Scotty McCoy, and boy, do I have a surprise for all of you. I have on Zoom with me right now Greg Gilbert, and he is the host of Python's Paradise. And if I'm not mistaken, is this your fourth time on the show?
I don't know. I'm kind of lucky to be on today, considering, oh gee, my last few. As you know, I work overnights,
Yeah.
uh, doing cleaning, and of course, yesterday, I get off work at 6 in the morning.
Mhm.
I come back here, and there's a note on my apartment door saying, um, announcement to all tenants. All vehicles need to be cleared out of the parking lot for they going through their vehicles, doing the pavement sweeping and all that
Oh
shit
God.
from 8 to 12. And I'm like, oh. So I had to move my car at 8, so no sleep there.
Oof.
And then I I had to figure out what to do with myself from there, and I was like a zombie because no sleep. And then, well, I figured while I'm waiting, let's make an appointment and get my oil changed in my car.
Uh-huh.
Can you come in at 3 this afternoon? It's like, well, sure. So, I get to work last night, and I say to my coworker, I said, please don't get upset if you catch me resting somewhere because I may need to. Surprisingly, I didn't.
Oh, nice.
Surprisingly, I didn't. But I'll tell you, I'm making up for it today because I was like almost an hour late for an eye appointment because
Wow.
I had a retina
Hmm.
operation back in January, thought, and then I had a cataract operation and doing a follow up today. So I was like almost an hour late. And I'm like, yeah, I didn't hear my alarm. I bet you I know why. And then here right now, I almost missed. I'm late for yours. And I'm like, yeah, it wouldn't be something to do with lack of sleep. I'll tell you one thing, the apartment sweeping thing did not help.
Yeah, I hear you there. I know Kyle works overnights. He works as a mental health counselor at a psych ward, and he does that 4 nights in a row. And he works 11 at night till 7:30 in the morning. And boy, he's tired by the end of it. Just so he sleeps pretty much all day those days up to Monday afternoon, and then Tuesdays and Wednesdays are really his full days that he can do whatever he needs to do. It's crazy.
So he works as a mental health counselor,
Yes.
and yet he's with you.
I know, right? Tell me about it. Absolutely. So let's go in because we're gonna get into some heavy stuff. So just to let everybody know, warning, there might be some trigger alerts. There might be, some things that are very drama based, but we are getting into that because Greg has his side of the story to tell. We've talked about it before on the show, and we'll talk about it of course again, and we'll get really into it. But before we get into all of that, to like you host your own show, Python's Paradise. So I'll just put the first two questions right into the same category. Like, what is your show really about? What do you do on it? And who are some of the guests that you have on that you would like to like shout out or mention?
Well, my show's called Python's Paradise, and I'm based out of Canada here. Oh, wow. It's nice to do the show when I'm not working. I
Yeah.
got, I'm one of these folks that my job constantly calls, hence my total lack of sleep. So, but no, I interview people. I should say I interview people from pop culture, but really when it comes down to it, I interview pretty much anybody. I had my former supervisor for the cleaning company I'm working for. she was jokingly saying to me last year, she says, can I come on your show? And to her surprise, I said, yeah.
Absolutely.
And I had her on, and
Nice.
we were able to fill, I don't know, an hour, hour and a half, just shooting the shit, and
Nice.
and I've done that before too. I had another person I used to work with at the hospital, and I found out this person had a side hustle where she uh, sells uh, men and women's products.
Okay.
And I was like, wow, I worked with this person, but I never knew about this. And I just invited her to come on to talk about that. And, so generally, if there's a story, I invite people on,
Yeah.
and here's my thing, I know what it's like to be told you don't matter.
Hmm.
Um, so I don't like telling people that they don't matter. I like to have people come on and tell their story, and whether they're part of movies or pop culture or not. I think there's plenty of room for everybody. I don't compete with other podcasters. I like to like I said, I think there's enough room for everybody. Um, and yeah, I that's where I stand with it. I just know that I'm a regular person. I get a job that a lot of people don't like to do. I mean, I don't even like to do it, but I do it. Skittles won't get a job here, so yeah. So anyway,
Absolutely.
so I don't like to tell people they're not welcome. Now, in terms of guests I've had a variety of different guests. I've had people ask me, who's the most famous person you've ever had? I don't know.
Right.
I don't know. Um, I've had a variety of different people, and I'd say some of the more notable people would be people like, Tommy Wiseau was my very first guest from The Room. I've had Ralph Bakshi on here a couple of times. I've had Caroline Monroe's been on here, Tony Basil,
Hmm.
uh, people like that,
The one
and
I'm really
sometimes
jealous of that you had on is Tiffany.
I had Tiffany on, yes. It's
Amazing. Yeah.
amazing how many people I run into today that don't remember who she is.
Hmm.
But Tiffany had number ones, a couple of number one singles back in 1987, 1988. I used to have her pictures all over my bedroom wall. So to have her come on here and talk to me, that was pretty amazing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and of course, if people have passed away, I do tribute interviews.
Hmm.
Um, I've done five on Zoe Tamerlis Lunn from Miss 45. Her widow, Robert's been on here talking about her. Um, and those interviews are very popular. And of course, Zoe was a fascinating individual. I love Miss 45.
Hmm.
I've had Alfred Hitchcock's granddaughter on the show here. Audrey Hepburn's eldest son has been on here. Uh, Colt and Ariel, the son and daughter of Rowdy Roddy Piper, has been on here. Um, Sarah Karloff has been on here. Bela Lugosi Jr. Another one that's really, really popular. I had Cookie Mueller's son on here.
Okay.
And of course, she was the part of the John Waters uh, stock of actors. And of course, she was the woman sexually assaulted with a chicken and pink flamingos.
Jeez.
And So she is of course gone. So I reached out to her son Max,
Mm-hmm.
and I had him on, and that interview gets a lot of views because
Nice.
people are just fascinated with this woman. That came as a result of I met Mink Stole at Horrorama, the first convention I ever did.
Mm-hmm.
And after I meet them, I like to think I've cleared the way for me to have them on the show, but that never materialized. So I was like, what else can I do? Well, what you do is you do a tribute to Cookie Mueller and you have her
Right.
son on. And I found out that this was funny tribute. Little bit of trivia for you is that Max is in the film. He's one of the babies being sold to the lesbian couple in the
Oh,
film.
okay.
Yeah, so
Nice.
he refers to John Waters as Uncle John. I
Nice.
find that very amusing, but
Nice.
but yeah, that's my long-winded answer. I have pretty much anybody on. I have some notable names and I have some not so notable names, and for me, all are welcome. My doors are
Absolutely.
open.
Absolutely. And I always found like, yeah, it's interesting and fascinating and even a pipe dream or, a childhood dream to interview those that you watched and grew up watching. But I find a lot of the stories are really fascinating from those that are unknown because they faced real world issues that they're open to talking about.
Another one, speaking of which, I had on that was pretty notable was Nancy Allen.
Hmm.
Took me 5 years to get
Oh, wow.
Nancy Allen on the show. Um, but I had her on. I had her on for 2 hours. I must have spent an hour of that 2 hours just grilling her about Dress to Kill, which
Mhm.
I love that movie.
Yeah.
But of course, she was also in Carrie and
Hmm.
Blow Out and stuff like that. But um, I had her on, and Jessica Harper from Suspiria and Phantom of the Paradise was another one that um, it took me a bit, but I finally got them. Sometimes you can run into disappointments and
Yeah.
letdowns, but when they work out, it's a nice feeling.
Yeah, I know when I interviewed Robbie Morgan, who played Annie in the original Friday the 13th, she mentioned that unfortunately because he passed away he can't do them, but Walt Gorney would have been a great person to interview, just because he was an amazing character actor and he's just an amazing, he would this would have been something he would have ate up. Like he just would have been so great to interview, and I couldn't agree with her more. I think he would have been an amazing fit. He might be somebody if he has any offsprings or anything that we could look into for interviews as well.
Yeah, I don't know if that would happen because I know that R.G. Henning did a book called Sackhead, the
Mhm.
definitive book about Friday the 13th, Part Two, and I have that here.
Mhm.
Then I had the book purchased before I realized that my name is in the book because he quotes from a couple of my interviews in
Oh,
that book.
nice.
Yeah, which I thought was really cool. I
That's pretty
had
cool.
no idea. I had the book purchased before I even knew that. But he had to rely on stories from Bill Randolph
Mm,
in order to do the chapter on Walt Gorney
wow.
because you know Bill had spent all that time with Walt during the a scene at the phone booth, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I've had Bill Randolph on the show here too, and I'll tell you that
Yeah.
guy loves to talk.
Yeah, Bill Randolph, he's great. I had him on. I was actually
I
trying
like
to.
him.
Yeah, I was trying to get him on the show for like a year or two until he finally responded, and I got him on. Great guy, loves to talk.
He and Lon Marie Taylor
Yes,
from Friday the 13th Part Two are both a hoot.
yes, I love Laura Marie Taylor. I want to meet her so bad. I hope she comes back to
I
Montreal.
have.
Yeah, I know you have. You lucky
Yeah.
son of a gun.
Oh man, yeah, she was a delight to meet. I met her at Frightmare in the Falls a couple of
Nice.
years ago, and yeah, she was every bit the delight you expect.
Awesome, absolutely. And I know somebody you won't want to meet is Debbie Sue Voorhees, shifting over to this category. And I mean, I'm not gonna talk bad about her because I never had a bad relationship with her. I thought she was amazing. I mean, she's been nice, nothing but nice to me, but she has done you dirty with 13 Fanboy, and I know you want to clear the air about what happened and kind of give your side of the story. I know you've talking about it before on your podcast, on my podcast, and
No.
others, right? Shocker. And it also includes with Judie Aronson, which the whole it goes back to saying like it went to like you're stalking Judie Aronson,
Oh
and
yeah.
it came to the point that we both found out that she had to get guns to protect herself.
Oh gee, yeah,
Like I
yeah.
don't know where that came from, but yeah. So I guess before we really go into 13 Fanboys, let's clear the air with an answer. Yes or no? Did you really stalk Judie Arson?
Well, according to her fantasies and whatever mental illness she's going through, according to that, I guess I have, but I don't know where I would fucking have time.
Right, right,
I mean, I barely got here with lack of sleep.
right. Have you really gone to Chiller, or did you really go to California?
Oh, maybe it wasn't lack of sleep. Maybe I was stalking Judy all that time and was late. Oh
Maybe
boy.
it was in your dreams, that maybe you pulled a alternate version or an alternate reality of Freddy Krueger,
Oh, Freddy Krueger is like, fuck this. You already got
right?
your own nightmare. You know what? Um, I, I made peace with Jason Bradford, and I'm happy about that. Jason had recently sent me um online uh documentation of his book called Bitch. It's a werewolf movie. I love that title. But he sent it to me, asked me if I'd read it and give some feedback, and I said sure, and I'll probably have him on this fall. But
Okay.
for a long time, Jason Bradford and I were at odds over this whole thing. But
Mhm.
I think he knows the era of the whole thing. Now, I never ever told Jason Bradford not to be friends with
Right,
Debi Voorhees, I don't care who is friends. Like
right.
Troy Elke is coming on here again, and I know Troy had met her recently, and he was quite delighted about it. I'm not telling people to pick
Right.
sides. What I am saying is don't go picking her side because, oh, I'm nobody. I was in a bunch of movies.
Right.
Um, so but here's the deal of it. I put 3K into 13 Fanboy.
Mhm.
Am a producer on it, and or a co-producer, I should say. And I don't know why this happened, but I mean, things went sour because I pitched the suicide and depression awareness
Mhm.
thing to various guests. Uh, the Doubtfire Face challenge opened up after Robin Williams left us, and it was a pie in the face challenge. Now, I was kind of like, I just lost dad to ALS after he battled that for 8 years. And I remember there was a big thing, ice bucket challenge for ALS. And what's amazing to me is that I fell for the hype. I thought, wow, everybody coming together to support this disease, cure for this disease that nobody even knew what it was. I
Yep.
didn't even know what it was. I'm pretty well aware of it now,
Mhm.
but nonetheless, I was like, oh, can there be another one? I didn't start the Doubtfire Face challenge, but growing up, I always loved slapstick comedy, like You Can't Do That on Television and stuff like that.
Hmm.
And I always loved the old pie in the face joke, and
Hmm.
so I thought this would be a lot more fun to watch than water over the head.
Yeah.
So I threw that out there, and I thought, well, I mean, I thought it'd be a good thing to throw out to 13 Fanboy because, well, I put 3K into that movie. I thought, you know what, this is a nice thing to throw out.
Hmm.
And like Ron Sloan did it. Lar Park Lincoln had done it, which was really cool,
Hmm.
and some various other people. But what's and I've had other takers on it. My good friend Lisa Langlois did it. My good friend Nancy McLaughlin did it. Both from movies.
Corey Wilson did it.
Tori Wilson, yes.
Hmm.
Tori Wilson did it, the wrestler.
Yeah.
Which tells you a lot about her, you
Yes.
know. Um, Sandy Johnson had did a really funny one where her husband was dressed up as Michael Myers
Yeah.
and he put the pie in her face
Yeah.
and
And
I've
then
always
you had
donated.
that one that you threw it out to, that I guess it was on Cameo, and they sent you a video but didn't do the pie in the face, and that was like money down the shitter.
Yeah, I've had that happen. I was gonna go back to Sandy Johnson. I was gonna say
Yeah.
I will generally donate to the charity of their choice in return for this.
Hmm.
That way it's two charities can get supported. Anyway, this got frowned upon on 13, the 13 fanboy said, I guess. I don't know what the fuck Debbie Sue Voorhees' issue was with it. I didn't even nominate her. Uh, I know Jimmy Presley had threw it out. I believe he threw it out to her, but I think you did too.
I
But
think I
I
did.
don't, yeah, because you did the challenge. But here's the
Yep.
thing. If you don't want to do it, don't fucking do it. But
Yeah.
don't villainize, especially don't villainize somebody who put 3K into your fucking movie.
Yeah.
Um, but nonetheless, I um I got vilified for that for some weird reason. And I'm sitting here thinking, I'm not part of the clique.
Hmm.
Now, the story with Judie Aronson is pretty interesting. Which I'm so fucking, I mean, I'm almost tempted to have t-shirts made with the letters Judie Aronson Stalker on it and have the image of her on the raft, only instead of Jason coming out of the water, it's me. And I have this look of Judie Aronson look on her face on my face, and instead of a knife, I'm like I don't know, like a
Hey,
fucking dildo. What?
I was thinking maybe like when you toast marshmallows over an open campfire and you have like those things, like those sticks, something like that.
No, I wouldn't be skewing her with anything. It's
Okay.
just
Yeah.
be like, oh, I come up on this rap. Oh, it's Judy Aronson, you
That is
know?
pretty funny.
I've half like tempted to make a t-shirt like that, but it's like, gee, I just can't be fucking bothered.
Yeah.
But yeah, but eh, here's the story behind that. I was lucky enough and honored enough to have interviewed Ted White
Hmm.
twice on the show here. Ted White, of course, played my favorite version of Jason Voorhees on Friday the 13th, the final chapter. Um, that was the version where I actually found Jason the scariest. And now there's people like Kane Hodder, there's people like Richard Broker and what have you. And that's fine. Derek Mears. And that's fine, to each their own. But Ted White was the Jason that really scared me. And I think it was his intensity and the fact that he was able to run after his victims.
Mhm.
Uh, Ted White took the role seriously, and this is a veteran who, a veteran stunt performer whose credits go way back.
Mhm.
He's doubled for John Wayne, Clark Gable.
Legend.
Imagine meeting somebody that knew Clark Gable, um,
Mhm.
Lee Marvin, and of course, he knew Marilyn Monroe when she was Norma Jean.
Mhm.
Um, so interesting stuff. And anyway, I was lucky enough to have him on twice. God rest his soul, he's gone now.
Yeah.
But during the interview, he pitched to me. Now, he didn't give me the numbers all over the air,
Mhm.
obviously, but he gave me the numbers to Kane Hodder and Judie Aronson.
Mhm.
He said that they would love to do the show. He didn't ask them, of course, but you've been around people, you get the feeling of
Yeah.
like I just had Tracy and Smith on recently from Hot Dog the movie, and she gave me the number for one of her co-stars on it. She said, "Yeah, call this guy. He would love to do it."
Mhm.
I get that every so often because people enjoy doing the show, and it was Tracy's second time on the show, so it was like,
Yeah.
yeah, she's got a feeling of who I am.
Mhm.
But I had those numbers. Now, I did not call them right away. Nowadays, because of this debacle, I kind of do now call them right away, but I didn't call them right away because I didn't want to alarm anybody.
Mhm.
Like, even though Ted White did give me the info. Now, was Ted White being reckless? No, no. I've talked to him before. In fact, I even called him during the pandemic to see how he was, and you remember me and we had a great chat. Um, but nonetheless, what had happened was Dick Miller had passed away. And when Dick Miller passed away, it was eye-opening because I had interviewed Dick Miller
Mhm.
about 5 or 6 months before his passing.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, I didn't even have him on my list to interview. It was just a matter of I've seen him doing like I haven't attended a convention he was at,
Mhm.
but I noticed through looking at some of the websites that Dick Miller has done a lot of the conventions. So I was like, would he do my show? And I took a shot at it. And his wife, Lainey, of course, who's seen briefly in The Graduate, she responded to me and responded favorably.
Mhm.
I would have never have gotten that interview if I had not taken that shot. So
Yeah.
I had a wonderful interview with Dick Miller and Lainey come on there as well, and had a great chat with both of them. And I was like, wow, when he passed away, I was like, gee, how close I came to missing that.
Mhm.
And so, and I've had others that passed away that I've reached out to but never heard back from. And I was like, but I got Dick Miller and I'm honored I've had that. So I was like, now is the time. I probably should, and I'll explain to them how I got their numbers. Ted White. So I call Judie Aronson one night while I'm at the station here, uh, and a woman answers the phone. I explain who I am, how I got the number, and the woman on the phone says, "Sorry, you got the wrong number." "Yeah, okay, I did all that explanation for nothing, but okay, okay. I called Ted White the following day, but said, That's her number, And I said, Do you think maybe I might have freaked her out? And he said, She would never do that. She would never do that. And by the way, Ted White spoke very highly of her, as
Mhm.
he did a lot of the people he worked with. And so I gave it some time. Um, I reached out to Kane Hodder and I left a message on his answering machine. Now, funny, Kane Hodder being a bigger star than Judie Aronson, you'd think he'd be the one flipping out.
Mhm.
I never heard back from Kane. Um, I could speculate as to why. Maybe it was like, but I mean, I explained in my message how I get his number and whatnot. But here's the thing, Kane Hodder's not flipping off over it,
Mhm.
you know? So I never did reach back out to Kane. I don't have the numbers anymore because Debbie Sue said, lose the numbers. The tone of which she said it was like pretty telling. But I gave it a little time and I reached out to Judie again.
Mhm.
This time, the person answering, same number, claimed to be her cousin. Went from total stranger, wrong number, to her cousin. So I explained to the cousin how I got the number and this and that. Okay. Never heard back. Ted White was going through his illness at the time. I wasn't gonna, by the way, I never told him about this because, well, he was slowly dying on us as
Mhm.
this time was going, and I certainly wasn't going to bombard him with this shit. He was kind enough to give me the numbers, and I never got any responses. So be it. I don't hold anything against Kane Hodder because he was drama free about the whole thing. Um, Judie, however, holy fuck. So Debbie Sue had said, I'm surprised I've had Debbie Sue on here 5 times, part of the Five Timers Club.
Yeah.
And I think it was the fourth interview she had asked me to lose the numbers. And there's something about the way she said it that bothered me. And she's addressed this, and she says, you're supposed to go through IMDb and go through their management and blah, blah, blah. And to that, I say horse shit. If somebody gives me a number, then they're entrusting me with that information,
Mhm.
you
Mhm.
know? Exactly.
Yeah.
So Ted White obviously trusted me to give me that information.
Absolutely.
Um, I've got a lot of numbers of a lot of different people. And unfortunately for Debbie Sue, I'm not going to go through agents and managers every time I want to talk to somebody that I consider a friend. I know, from her standpoint, I look at her as somebody who looks at me as an outsider and I'm not deserving to be part of the group, so to speak.
Mhm.
You know, she didn't say that to me. That's the, that's how it comes across to me.
Mhm.
Well, Lisa Langlois invited me to my first convention, and I've done 4 with her, including Chiller in New Jersey, my first one in the States this year. No, I didn't have time to stalk Judie Aronson. I'm sorry. Um, it would have looked odd on the passport if they asked me what I declared, and I said, "Oh, going to Judie Aronson's," you know. But no, no, didn't have time to do that. But nonetheless, I've become friends with Lisa. I don't go through her manager to talk to her. We're friends.
Mhm.
Lisa chose to be my friend. She
Mhm.
chose to have me as her friend. And we've done road trips to Niagara Falls for Frightmare in the Falls. I would pay the rental car and she would drive. If I was a stalker, let me assure you, Lisa wouldn't have me in a car with her by myself. Yeah. So, but nonetheless, uh, another one is Nancy McLaughlin. Nancy often calls me. We become very good friends. And
Mhm.
I've had others. And speaking of Debbie Sue, Melanie Kinnaman reached out to me recently asking if I could help her get into Frightmare in the Falls.
Nice.
And you know what she said, and part of that she said, get me and Tiffany could do we could both do this, and you could come and meet me. And I was like, wow. Here, it's funny how she would say that, being
Mm.
in the same movie as Debbie Sue, and
Yeah.
it's yeah, she wants the so-called stalker to come meet her at Frightmare in the Falls. Arrange. I'm making it easy for you. Can you pitch it for me?
Mhm. Yeah.
But nonetheless, uh, I gave her the contact info for James Ponce, one of the promoters I've had on here, and
Mhm.
so hopefully, Melanie Kinnaman and Tiffany Helm can get there. I'd
Yeah.
love to. Yeah. And it's funny because Tiffany Helm is one of the people I called during the pandemic, see
Nice.
how she was. Another one who's not running from the fucking hills from me. After a while, people get a sense.
Mhm.
So I don't know what had fucking happened, but I was at um, I was at work one night, and I, I I I I don't know how this happened, but I got word from Orlando Rodriguez, who was part of 13 Fanboy,
Mhm.
that it's funny because Orlando Rodriguez had lost somebody. I don't know whether it was a family member or a friend, but somebody had died. And I reached out just to express my sympathies. And he thought I was calling over the Debi Voorhees debacle. I had no idea what it was. So he explained to me, and he sent me screenshots of conversations about me going on the 13 Fanboy group.
Mhm.
So I was shocked. I was betrayed. I was pissed off
Mhm.
at the things that were being said. A lot of it was at the detriment of the Doubtfire Face challenge. And by the way, it just makes me sick to my stomach when I hear Debbie Sue say, we should all be good to each other and love each other and blah, blah, blah. It sounds about as phony as these politicians saying, addressing
Yeah.
a school shooting as we're giving our thoughts and prayers. Yeah, it means absolutely
Mhm.
fuck all because you
Which,
don't.
which, by the way, it's crazy how that part all started with a Doubtfire Face challenge, which is meant to bring awareness to bullying, suicide, depression, and all that other stuff. And they're doing things that put people into a depression, want to attempt suicide, and bully.
Yeah. So, and then the whole thing with Judie Aronson, I heard that apparently I was outside her house and she had to get a gun and this and that. And I'm sitting there thinking, I've never been to fucking California.
At the time, you didn't even have a passport.
I got a passport 2 years ago because I was in Toronto,
Mm-hmm.
and I always spend a lot of time with Lisa Langlois when I'm there, and she said that she was working on doing some conventions in the States.
Mm-hmm.
As I said, we just did Chiller in New Jersey,
Yep.
and she said you should get a passport. So Lisa was my introductory to getting a passport, you
Mm-hmm.
know. But um, nonetheless, I heard about this from Orlando Rodriguez, and uh, Orlando told me because number one, he liked me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's been on the show. He liked who I was. Number two, he didn't have the best experience being part of that film, and he was on set and makes a cameo in it.
Mm-hmm.
And and C, uh, he didn't have the best experience in terms of his well, basically, you know, he had an issue with the whole bullying me situation. He knew what I had helped put into the movie, and he felt that I should know what's being said about me.
Mm-hmm.
This could have been addressed had Debbie Sue contacted me in private, but instead she went on a group, and I'll tell you why she did it. She wanted to be validated. She knew that everybody in that group that were brainwashed into thinking that, well, listen to me because I was in Friday the 13th Part 5. And what's Greg done? You know, he's a
Mm-hmm.
nobody. She didn't say that, but that's how it comes across. And some people fell for that bullshit. And there are some that I can honestly say I'm happy stood by me, like Orlando.
Mm-hmm.
So I was pissed off at this. And I had reached out to Rob Mahoney about it because Rob always stuck up for the little guy. And Rob Mahoney had addressed it in a video. And that's when Debbie Sue went on a witch hunt to find out who had sent me the screenshots. And at the time, Orlando told me, you know, don't mention it. He's since come out right during an interview mine to come out and address it himself. So that's why I mention him now because the cat's out of the bag. But she went on a witch hunt, and of course, she went after people that had commented on Rob Mahoney's video. One being Carrie Yates. And if you
Mm-hmm.
thought I was treated bad, well, Carrie Yates got treated every bit as badly, you know? She had nothing to do with this situation. And yet she got blamed for sending me the screenshots.
And
And
Carrie Yates
she,
put just as much, if not more, money into this movie, I believe.
I don't know how much she put into it, but she told Debbie Sue she didn't want any of the perks.
Mm-hmm.
She said, give it to charity, give it to wherever. She didn't want any of the perks.
Mm-hmm.
You know, she was pissed about
Mm-hmm.
this, and her husband was pissed about this as well.
And rightfully so.
Yeah, but and I'll say it right now, Carrie Yates had nothing to do with it. She
Mm-hmm.
did not send me screenshots. She just commented on Rob Mahoney's video, so she got looked at as a perpetrator.
Yeah.
Yeah, Debbie Sue, she'd make a very piss poor Sherlock Holmes. She's
My
not very
thing is,
good at.
is if you're gonna go after, say, Carrie Yates, make sure that Carrie Yates is damn well involved, because accusing people who aren't involved, that's not good. It's
Nope,
not good. Like that's
nope.
how you burn bridges. That's how, lawsuits can happen, things like that.
Oh, Carrie Yates shared some screenshots of stuff that Debbie Sue had said to her, and I saw the conversation, and I'm not going to get it word for word here, but Carrie Yates had said to her, I said, "Are you accusing me of sending Greg the screenshots?" And she said, how did Debbie Sue word that? It's my impression, yes, or something like that.
Wow.
No, no, you either have fucking proof or you don't,
Yeah. I'm
you
assuming
know?
word got back to Debbie Sue that Orlando was the one that did it, right?
Well, Orlando came out on my show and
Right.
he had decided to talk about it because he got tired of the fact that Carrie Yates got burned through this and um, Rob Mahoney and people like that. And it really none like Rob Mahoney came to my aid, but he had nothing to he had nothing to do with it. He didn't,
Yeah.
you know. And quite frankly, as I said, had Debbie Sue contacted me privately, this could have been solved. Now, the Judie Aronson thing is, I think I'm more pissed at her than I am Debbie Sue. But
Mhm.
oh yeah, here's another thing too, going back to that. It was going around, and that because of quote my actions, a screening of 13 Fanboy got canceled.
I remember this.
And what I found funny is that it was in someplace in New Jersey or wherever the camp is or wherever it is they were doing a
It was
screening.
in Jersey, yeah.
Yeah, and there is a photo of Tracy Savage, Ron Sloan, Vincent DeSante, and Christopher Norris all doing a Q&A at it. And I'm like, I thought this was canceled because of my actions. And Vincent DeSante was one of the ones that he turned me down coming on my show a third time because he can't believe I reached out to ask him back on the show after blah 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 blah. Well,
Right.
Vincent, you sure you certainly aren't going. Of course, Vincent took her side because I'm nobody. He claims it's because why would he listen to somebody who's interviewed him a couple of times when he can listen to this filmmaker that he spent months with? Doesn't make her right.
Right.
Doesn't make her right. And it's amazing to me that somebody he worked with, like Tom Matthews, is certainly not agreeing with his perspective. And I'll
Mhm.
get to that in a minute. But um, that was the camp. But I found out though there was a lot of people that were standing by me. But I remember after you had done your Doubtfire Face challenge, you had suggested that I reach out to people on Cameo about it.
Mhm.
That was when I reached out to Tori Wilson, who did
Mhm.
it, and James Allworth did it, and Michael Levi from Terrifier did it. Of course, I
Mhm.
supported his movie stream as well. But Judie Aronson had said yes to doing the Doubtfire Face challenge. But she couldn't do it then because it was the pandemic, which I totally understand.
Mhm.
But she promised that she would do it. In fact, she said she was jealous that Ron Sloan had done it, but she didn't realize she got nominated. So a year passes, and I haven't thrown the doubt for a challenge out to anybody for a while. I do it every now and again if I feel the sense of humor is there.
Mhm.
But nonetheless, um, almost lost my train of thought here. Who was I
Now,
talking?
you said a year passed after Judy declined it.
Okay. Um, so what had happened is that I thrown it out to I th thrown out some people because Cameo had half price or some kind of promotional thing going on. So I thought I'm gonna throw it out to Judy again, see if she remembered or forgotten or whatnot. All of a sudden, her whole tone about it shifted, saying saying she didn't feel right about it, and she said something very similar to what Debbie Sue Voorhees said. I don't think that you should be doing something that makes fun of it.
Hmm.
I suppose Debbie Sue Voorhees is okay with people dumping ice water over their head over a disease that killed my father.
Mhm.
I guess that's okay in her books,
Mhm.
you know? Um, I'm not making a protest over the ice bucket challenges. I just don't see why another charity challenge can't succeed too, you
Mhm.
know? But of course, this was being pushed by me, and I'm a nobody. I know I'm not part of the clique.
Mhm.
So I just put 3K into their movie. That's all. But I'm not famous enough for
Right.
that to be acknowledged.
Right. They
But
got your money and it was like, thank you, see ya. Don't let the door hit you on the, on the way out.
yeah, yeah. So obviously Debbie Sue had gotten her ear about it because I posted something about it on the group. Judie Aronson was said she'd do this. And first off, if that's the case, because I got no proof that Debbie Sue said anything to her, but if that's the case, why? And number two, Debbie Sue was in a position where she could have smoothed this all over between Judie and I, and she
Hmm.
didn't do it. So
Yeah.
she's just as fucking guilty here.
Hmm. Yeah.
So I don't know why the drama. So um and I know I saw, like I said, some screenshots between Carrie Yates and Debbie Sue Voorhees. Carrie Yates shared everything with me,
Hmm.
you know, and I get accused of stalking Judie Aronson.
Wow.
And I saw about the stuff about, oh, me being outside her house and she happened to get a like, fuck off. I've never been to California. I can prove on Facebook the last time I even sent Judy a message.
Hmm.
That I can prove in the court of law.
Yep.
I was, this was a funny part. I was accused of calling her 23 times.
Oh, damn. Yeah.
Okay, women are not stupid. Most women, if you get away with 2 times calling them like that, you're very lucky.
After
Five of
that, you're
the
probably blocked, if not before that.
exactly. So to anybody listening, does it make sense that I called Judy 23 times
Hmm.
and the cops don't visit me, like visit my door, or
There's no restraining order. There's no,
no, none, nothing like
yeah.
that. Like I said, I can literally go on Messenger and I could prove the last time I messaged her, which like I don't know when it was, but I think the last time I pitched to have her on my show, which she didn't do, which who fucking cares
Hmm.
now? But anyway, no woman is going to put up with 23 phone calls, harassing
Hmm.
phone calls. No woman, you
No
know.
man would even do that.
No men would even do that either. And I've joked, I said, maybe it takes 24 with Judy, maybe that's it. But
Definitely.
but Debbie Sue told me lose the number. I lost the numbers. I don't have those numbers anymore.
Hmm.
But I'm not going through fucking agents and managers for people that
Yeah.
consider me a friend.
Even
And
like
I
when there's people on Facebook, like I reach out to most of my guests on Facebook if they're on my Facebook friends list, or even if they're not. And the ones that aren't on there, I'll either, if I have their email, I'll email them. If I don't have their email, I will go through their agents because it's the only other alternative I might have if I want them on my show. But if you can go easier routes without having to go through third parties and secondary channels, you know,
I look at it this way. I think Debbie Sue doesn't see me as somebody worthy of the flick.
right?
That's how it comes across to me,
Absolutely.
you know. And sorry, but I'm not looking for fame and fortune. I'm
Right.
happy to be able to do this. It's a privilege. It's a blessing.
Yeah.
Um, I'm honored I've had Ted White on the show twice.
Hmm.
It's just too bad for the woman he spent a lot of time in that interview praising
Hmm.
turned out this badly towards me. But
Yeah.
but here's the thing. Uh, I can prove. All
Hmm.
I have to do is go through my fucking phone records, and I can
Yep.
prove I didn't call her 23 times,
Absolutely.
you know? And yeah, I have a passport now. I was to New Jersey. I can prove that too.
Yeah.
And if I do go to California, Nancy McLaughlin has invited me. If I'm ever in California, she said, she's got a place where Uh, she has an Airbnb that she rents out to people. She told me to come on and said she'd open it up to me.
Absolutely. And Judy's the
Yeah,
neighbor.
well, well, it's funny because she don't consider me as. Do you think she'd invite me? She
Right.
considered me a stalker?
Absolutely. Yeah.
But
You wouldn't.
yeah, but again, I haven't been to California, so
Hmm.
all this stuff I'm hearing, I don't know whether it's Debbie Sue, Judie Aronson, who it may be that's saying the bullshit. But
Hmm.
it's like my response to that is fuck off.
Right.
If I've done it, prove it.
Right.
Fucking prove it.
Right.
Because Orlando Rodriguez came out with he sent me the screenshots. Kerry Yates sent me screenshots of aftermath stuff that was going on.
Hmm.
You know, I was done wrong here.
Yep.
And as a result, I took my copy of 13 Fanboy that was sent to me. I did a video where I backed over it with the car, and I mentioned Debbie Sue Voorhees, Judie Aronson, and very unflattering light as I did so. It's like,
It's the funny thing is like you I know you bought the perks, but the fact that she still had the balls to send you a copy of the DVD. I know you earned it and you bought it, but it's just the fact, you know what I mean? Like I know you paid for that. It's just like wow, like this is just that added reminder, like, oh, look at this mail from Debbie Sue Voorhees.
I wish there could be peace made. Like, I know there was a
Yeah.
long time that Jason Bradford and I were at each other's throats. Jason and I made peace. I don't know how that peace came about, but we made peace. I know that he had a connection to a podcast connection with Orlando Rodriguez, and they had a falling out.
Hmm.
And I know he'd heard what Orlando had been saying. And
Hmm.
I said, I'm not editing anything out. But I said, if you want to come on and say your side of the story, you may.
Hmm.
And I think Jason was reluctant at first, but he came on.
Hmm.
And we had a surprisingly decent, very pleasant interview. And like I said, recently he sent me the manuscript of his book that he's writing, his
Hmm.
werewolf book called Bitch, which I love that title.
Hmm.
And I think, and again, I'm not telling him to turn on Debbie Sue. He's
Hmm.
allowed to be friends with whoever he wants to, but
Yeah.
I think he knows I'm innocent.
Yeah.
I think he knows down deep. I think he knows I'm innocent.
Absolutely.
But I'll say this: let's talk about other people more. Highlight other people that know that I'm innocent, and of course, Lisa Langlois,
Hmm.
who's done the conventions with me. I've done road trips with her. She knows I'm innocent because she would not have had me alone in a car with her if she thought I was guilty of stalking, you know. Um, I talked to Tom Matthews, who was originally supposed to be part of 13 Fanboy. I'm not going to get into that, but I talked to him about this, and he doesn't buy at all that I stalked Judy, and he rolled his eyes at it, but he's been on the show 3 times. He's met me in person at Horrorama and Frightmare in the Falls. He wasn't running for the hills.
Hmm.
Um, when my dad had passed away, I didn't hear from very many 13 Fanboy people, I'll tell you that. But one person I did hear from was Lar Park Lincoln, and she's a hit and miss online if you ever catch her. But Lara had said some very nice things to me. And Lara, of course, was part of 13 Fanboy. Lara Park Lincoln's still friends with Debbie Sue Voorhees, and I'm not telling her not to be. But you know what? She also doesn't think I'm a stalker. Number one, she did the Doubtfire Face challenge because it was I think you nominated her, so
Yep.
did Jimmy Presley. Rob Mahoney might have done it as well. Like, she did the Doubtfire Face challenge.
Mhm.
She had no problem doing it. Here's the thing, I have her number. She knows I have her number. I've had her number since 2016.
Mm-hmm.
Guess how much stalking I've done with her? None.
Right.
And
Are you sure you're not the one that put her in the back of your trunk and left her for dead in 13 Fanboy?
yeah. Well, here's the thing. I've been trying to figure out how to do these Zooms by phone because I'm not very tech savvy because I know Terry Kaiser does not do Zoom.
Yeah.
Well, Lar Park Lincoln gave me Terry Kaiser's number.
Mm-hmm.
And she kind of laughed at me and said, "So you can go stalk him."
That
She wouldn't say that if she thought at all that I was
you were a
guilty
danger.
of
Yeah,
stalking Judie Aronson.
absolutely.
And she wasn't making fun of Judie. She wasn't making fun of Debi Sue. She was addressing the fact as I don't buy Greg's guilty of this.
Absolutely.
Another one, Tracy Savage, who was the one I had the crush on in 13 Fanboy. Ever since I first saw Friday the 13th Part 3, I was enamored with Debi, who was played by Tracy Savage. Like, she was drop dead gorgeous.
Mm-hmm.
Tracy Savage has been on here 5 times on Boxing Day. Boxing Day seems to be our day. Again, she speaks very highly of her experiences on 13 Fanboy. She speaks very highly of Debi Sue. And I'm not going to argue that.
Mm-hmm.
Guess what else? I have her number. She gave it to me. And she would not be on my show not 5 times, let alone Boxing Day, if she considered me a threat.
Absolutely.
Now I can look on my phone. I know I think I messaged Debi Sue, not Debi Sue, thinking Debi. Tracy Savage on Valentine's Day, wished her happy Valentine's Day. She responded.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't text Tracy Savage a lot,
Mm-hmm.
you know? Um, I don't abuse that information.
Absolutely.
And sh I've had a very good report with her.
Mm-hmm.
So these are people that have done my show, who are part of 13 Fanboy, who don't agree with the whole Judie Aronson stalking debacle,
Mm-hmm.
you know? So I don't know how this can ever get solved. Um, I know I've said some nasty stuff about Jason Bradford in the past, where I've even tore into him on a couple interviews I did with Anthony Camano, who he was at odds with. But moving forward, I've got nothing negative on Jason Bradford. He and I have smoothed things over.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to have him back on again this fall, where I'll be
Absolutely.
able to give him my assessment of his book.
Mm-hmm.
And I appreciate him asking for my opinion on that. You know, I think Jason's got a very creative mind, and I'm right now at peace with him.
Yes.
And I told Orlando Rodriguez I was having Bradford back on, and I told Jason I was going to let Orlando know, and Orlando was fine.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
That's how
Orlando.
friendships work. Like, you don't control who, even if like
Yep,
you let me have Debbie Sue back on the show
I
after
I I, I had no issue with
and you had
that.
no issue with it. We talked about it before I agreed to it.
You know, like I was fine with that.
Yeah,
You can have whoever you want to on your show,
right. And I can
you
meet
know?
whoever I want to meet. And the same thing for you. If there's anybody I'm not friends with or I have disagreements with or I have bad blood with, if you want to be friends with them or meet them or talk to them or interview them, that's okay with me. We're friends. You know, like
Yep.
we're not gonna control who we talk to and because that would never make a friendship work.
No. But I mean that's how the whole thing goes down. And
Yeah. What
so
happened with you and Christopher Norris?
you know what? Christopher Norris was one of these ones. I had him on twice, and he ended up blocking me
Wow.
because he bought into this fucking bullshit.
Wow.
Now, Troy Elke has not turned on me, and I know he and Christopher Norris was close, but but Christopher Norris was one of these ones that bought into it.
Yeah.
And guess what? He can stay away as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
You know, he didn't care about my side of the story. He
Mm-hmm.
cared about the person who was in a Friday the 13th movie.
Yeah.
She obviously must be innocent because she was in a movie,
Right.
you know? So that's how I see him.
Yeah.
Um, and he's not the only one to fall into that camp. They're in this for what they think Debbie Sue can do for them,
Yeah.
you know?
And then like look at me. Like I mean, Debbie Sue never blocked me. We're still friends on Facebook. We don't
You know
really
what's
talk.
funny about that? It's
And
funny about that. Debbie
yeah.
Sue Voorhees blocked me online.
Yeah.
Last time I checked, and I can't prove this, but it's been a while, years, but at that time, because I don't spend my whole fucking
Mm-hmm.
24 hours thinking about Judie Aronson, but
Mm-hmm.
last time I checked, Judie hadn't blocked me on anything.
Mm-hmm.
You would think if I were stalking her, that'd be the first fucking thing she'd be doing.
Yeah.
Maybe I might have to block her. I don't know.
But my thing is, what I'm thinking of is, I could be wrong. I'm not saying it to be mean or saying it to spread negativity or any rumors or anything. But do you do you think because Debbie Sue is the one that blocked you,
Mhm.
Judie never blocked you? Do you think Judie even knows fully of what entirely happened per se, or is she involved in any way, or is this a full Debbie Sue Voorhees pulling the
You know
strings?
what? That's a good question. And quite frankly, it's been like what, 2, 3 years since this happened, and this is the most I've talked about this since last time having Orlando Rodriguez or
Mm-hmm.
Jason Bradford on the show. You know,
Right.
it's um I just don't care,
Mm-hmm.
you know. I
Yeah.
feel bad that she could not trust, like Judy could not trust Ted White
Mm-hmm.
in connecting us.
Yeah.
I could have had a really good interview with her. And I found it funny. There was a Friday the 13th, the final chapter reunion at Frightmare in the Falls. And guess
Mm-hmm.
who wasn't there? I bet you it was my fault too, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. But you know what? I met Kimberly Beck. She was a delight. And by the way, Bobby Heckman, I'm involved with Victim No More.
Mm-hmm.
He's good friends with Kimberly Beck.
Yep.
He put me in touch with her. I met Kimberly at Frightmare in the Falls. I didn't bring this shit up because you know what? I was there to enjoy a convention. We did talk about Bobby Heckman, who was absent. We
Bo-
both grilled him about it. He was
and Bobby
absent.
might be on the show, but I do want to do a quick plug for him. I want to. He might be watching this one, but I want to have him back on. I do want to reach out to him to have him back on. I'm thinking of having him on closer to August because that's where the plug comes into play. In September, I believe is Friday, September 13th. The crowdfunding campaign for Victim No More 2 is going to be going live. He posted that on his Facebook, so I'm assuming it's public knowledge. So go and if you're watching this one, go and donate when that campaign goes live. And Bobby, if you're watching this, I'll be reaching out to have you back on the show to promote the Indiegogo and Victim No More 2 and see if I can get you to spill any like juice about what's to expect.
Yeah, and Bobby,
Great guy.
he would not have put me in touch with Kimberly Beck if he thought I
Yeah.
was a stalker, you
Right. I
know.
met Bobby a couple of times. He's an amazing, amazing guy. And the first Victim No More was absolutely amazing.
Well, I don't know about Bobby. I tried to meet him. He did not make it.
Uh-huh.
He did not make it to Niagara Falls, you know.
Maybe he didn't make it because he didn't want to leave in his trunk.
Oh yeah, but I met Kimberly, and I forget the circumstances why Bobby couldn't make it, but
Hmm.
it was a bit of a bummer. But you know, it is what it is. But but I met Kimberly. I met the twins. Eric
Hmm.
Janderson, I never had on, and he passed away recently, but I did
Yeah,
meet him at Frightmare in the Falls.
yeah,
Met the very expensive Corey Feldman. I mean, he's not as expensive as William Shatner, but still.
yeah. And Corey Feldman is more expensive when you don't want it. When you don't want it autographed to your name.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that
Well,
way you sell it.
he's well aware that a lot of people like to sell the
Yeah,
autograph, you
absolutely.
know, and I've schooled Lisa on this as well as saying always personalize it,
Hmm.
you know, because there's a lot of people out there that are selling them, and a lot of celebrities do not like that, and it
Yeah.
affects them signing for genuine fans.
Like me and you, because
Yeah.
I don't mind if they personalize it. I rather just have one personalization on it from any actor, and then that way it's already personalized, and then just sign your name and the character you played. Like I prefer not personalized, but I don't sell my autographs. I like them, but I don't like
I want
buying
them
the 8x10s. I
personalized.
like personal items. I like my Halloween book. I get all the Halloween cast to sign the book I wrote, and like, my Friday the 13th box art set from Shout Factory. I get that signed by all the Friday cast.
But here's the thing. I like having it personalized because
Hmm.
it's like they're putting my name on there, you know.
Right.
Yeah, I enjoy that.
Yeah.
But but nonetheless, you know, going back to Judie Aronson, I sorry this happened. I don't
Yeah.
know how it can be concluded,
Right.
but I have never and will never stalk her.
Right.
And I'm wondering in the back of her mind if she knows how stupid this whole fucking thing is.
Right.
But I find it funny. There was nothing out of Kane Hodder out of all this, you know. You know, but Judie that made a big deal out of it. But I've got a lot of numbers, and I've never stalked or harassed anybody. So
Yeah.
take that for what it is. Um,
Well, you stalked Brett Harris.
oh, Brett Harris is different, you know. Brett Harris is different. I actually got his shirt the because he also did a Doubtfire Face
Uh-huh.
challenge, and I did contributed to riding for kids cancer, the bike
Yep.
what cycling thing he does.
Yep.
I got his shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah, I won a draw, and he sent me the shirt. I like Brett.
How
I
much did you
talked to
pay
him.
him off? You probably bought my underwear and sent it to him, didn't you? To bribe him. Steal cereal.
Well, you know, yeah, Brett and I had conversation about that your boxers going for an all-time high of 0 on eBay. Oh boy, I like Brett.
Brett's
I've had a
great. I'm
lot
so
of
glad I
time.
got him. He got you two in touch with each other because Brett is a great guy. He lives in my neck of the woods in Pennsylvania. I'm in Baltimore now, but still go back to that
Well,
neck of the woods. And he's in a lot of movies that I do, and he's an
he's
absolute
a
amazing person.
five-timer on the show here too. You
Nice.
know, like
Yeah, great guy.
a real nice connection.
Yep.
He did the Doubtfire Face challenge, and he lugged his family in on it.
Yep. Nothing
You
like
know,
Amanda.
Yeah, yeah. Unlike Amanda, don't get into that. But
Yeah.
um, and speaking of Doubtfire Face challenge, I've neglected to mention Lauren Marie Taylor did the Doubtfire Face challenge
Nice.
on Cameo.
Nice. I'm
She
so
did not
glad I
have.
got you in touch with Laura Marie Taylor too, because I knew
Oh,
you would love to have her on your show.
she's a delight.
She's amazing.
She's a delight, you know. But it says a lot about them when they
Yeah.
do the Doubtfire Face challenge. These people that read that Cameo request and they do it, it says something about them.
Yep. Especially
like
the bigger names like Tori Wilson. Like, I mean, Tori
yeah,
Wilson's a Hall of Famer. You know what I mean? Like, and the fact that she did it shows that nobody should just be denying this at this point. Tori
yeah.
frickin' Wilson.
Tori did it. Teal Piper did it. Roddy
Mhm.
Piper's daughter.
Yeah.
She did it. She was a blast.
Mhm.
I'm still in touch with her. Oh, I love just poking and jabbing at her, and
Mhm.
and now I have her on with her partner, her husband, Damos, and now I poke and jab at both of them. They're a lot of fun, but here's the thing. Debbie Sue approached me privately about all this. It might have been dead and buried.
Yeah.
The fact that she went on public forum and unleashed about me and got everybody riled about me pissed me off,
Yeah.
you know. And I've given to a lot of charities and had people fuck me over on the Doubtfire Face challenge. I
Mhm.
don't think that's right either. If you don't want to do it, say no,
Right. You
you
know,
know.
just if you say no, you're not gonna hate them for it. But if
Well,
you
Tracy, I really wanted Tracy Savage to do it. She
right,
turned it down. It's funny how Tracy Savage and I are still connected.
yeah,
There's no animosity. She said
yeah.
no. I
Just
would
be
have liked to
honest.
do it. Yeah, but here's the thing. She said no,
Right.
and there's no animosity between us,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Yeah,
And I look forward to having her on again this Boxing Day to further chat with her. I love
absolutely.
talking to Tracy Savage,
Yeah.
but between her and Laura Park Lincoln did the challenge, but they don't see me as a threat, and I don't know
Mm-hmm.
what the malfunction is with Debbie Sue and Judie Aronson on that because
Yeah.
like
Because I don't see the mocking of suicide and depression. The fact that they said that is like a cop out, I think. Like they're using that as a way to not do it when you could just say no and then it didn't have to escalate to where it did.
yeah, well, it is what it is.
Yeah.
I don't throw that out there as much as I used to. A lot of times it depends on the person's sense of humor.
Hmm.
Um, but nonetheless, I've had some good takers on it, so
Absolutely.
so and that's always awesome. So
Absolutely.
some of
So
the reactions are great too, so
right.
yeah.
Absolutely. So let's end the interview with your show. Where can people find Python's Paradise if they want to listen to your interviews?
Well, it's on YouTube right now, but I don't know for how much longer because YouTube pulled my interview with Chrissy Krueger due to misinformation on health. We had a gradual, casual conversation about the pandemic.
Hmm.
I asked because she don't live in my neck of the woods. She lives in the States like you do. I asked what
Right.
it was like where she was with the pandemic. How is that misinformation on health? Neither one of us were telling anybody to go for the jab or not.
Right.
It got pulled for that. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me? So I think it was you that introduced me to Anchor podcast and Spotify.
Hmm.
So my interviews are going up on that.
Hmm.
So that'll give me a new platform.
Absolutely.
And I'm looking into Rumble, but I
Okay.
need to find out whether Rumble has because I want to be able to put my audio interviews up there too,
Yeah.
not just video, because I didn't start doing the Zoom part of my show until 2021. I got
Right.
interviews going back to 2015. I want all the platforms that I
Yeah.
can get onto to be able to have access to all the interviews,
Yeah.
So um I heard locals. I haven't looked into it, but I've heard that one's good.
Hmm.
And somebody told me Daily Motion as well. So I'm like, okay,
That's a
I get a
possibility.
few.
Daily Motion is kind of like YouTube without all the, I think it's without all the strict stuff.
Well, look, I've seen a lot worse on YouTube
Hmm.
than my Chrissy Krueger interview, which wasn't explicit on anything, you know?
Yeah.
Like I didn't understand that,
Yeah.
nonetheless, it is what it is. Um, I don't know how much longer, you know. I don't. I tried to fight the strike, and I think it was just a bot or something that.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I'm like, you
Did
know
your
what?
interviews from 2020 go live yet?
Oh yeah, they're up on
Okay. So Tyler Ebert and
Spotify.
that is up and everything.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. Plus my interview with Daria Nicolodi, who was in several of the Dario Argento movies,
Nice.
including Deep Red, and she was involved with Suspiria and whatnot. She, I reached out to her in 2016 on Twitter, and she had turned me down.
Mm.
She, I don't know what the story is behind her breakup with Argento, but she said she got tired of talking about the seven movies she did with Argento.
Mm-hmm.
So, what had happened there is at Horrorama one year, they had booked Lamberto Bava,
Mm-hmm.
and Daria was in one of his movies. But Lamberto is the son of Mario Bava, who
Okay.
made, you know, Twitch of the Death Nerve and
Mm-hmm.
Blood and Black Lace and numerous Italian giallo films.
Yeah.
Well, he also had um, Daria in his last movie, Shock.
Okay.
So in 2020, I had reached out to her because Deep Red, which that was my favorite Argento Daria Nicolodi performance, was
Mm-hmm.
in Deep Red, and I reached out to her again and pitched the anniversary of that film.
Okay.
Here's a quote: "This interview will likely not happen,"
Mm-hmm.
but I indulged her.
Okay.
She came back at me because I told her I have met Lamberto. She came back at me and she said, "Okay, I'll do the interview on two conditions."
Mm-hmm.
She said, "One, I want to just shower Mario Bava with praise. She loved working with him. And number two, she wanted to show her love for her daughter, Asia Argento." And I said, "Absolutely." And she came on the show. Now, she knew beforehand I was going to obviously bring up some of the Argento stuff, but I kept it limited.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't go into all seven films in detail because I didn't want her to feel cornered.
Mm-hmm.
I did talk about Deep Red and stuff I loved about that film and her performance in it, and she answered my questions.
Mm-hmm.
I brought up Suspiria, which she didn't star in, but she was a producer on it. I brought that up, and she answered my questions. And I brought up Phenomena because I wanted to ask her what it was like working with a young Jennifer Connelly.
Mm-hmm.
And she answered my question. I didn't bring up a bunch of the other one. I think I mentioned opera because I'd interviewed William McNamara, who was in opera.
Mm-hmm.
But I've had about four people from Suspiria on, including Jessica Harper and Stephanie Cassini and Barbara McNaughty. So, um, but anyway, I after that I left it at that, and we moved on to Mario Bava and talked about Shock, and she talked about that, and then we talked about Asia Argento. By the end of the interview, and this reminded me of the first time I had interviewed Ralph Bakshi, because I he took some convincing, and he's been on twice. Um, she said she was very apologetic about our first encounter on
Mm-hmm.
Twitter, but she said she was very happy to have done this interview, and she said I asked some really good questions and made her feel very comfortable.
Good.
So when she passed away in the fall, I believe it was the fall of 2020, I was like, I was very, very happy I had got that interview,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
and I think I did her justice in that interview.
right.
You know, I would love to make peace with Debi Sue Voorhees and Judie Aronson, but I'm not going to hold my breath on that.
Mm-hmm.
And if they're upset because of stuff that was said in past interviews about them, well, I made peace with Jason Bradford and we're fine with each other. What was said in the past was said in the past. All you
Right.
can do is move into the future.
Right. And everything you said on here, none of it was made up, none of it was
Yep.
rumors. Everything that you said truly happened to you.
But um but I'll say this, uh as far as Judy Aronson goes, I'm just sad that I didn't get to experience the wonderful person that Ted White described. You know, I think I could have had a field day interviewing her, but and if she didn't want to do the Doubtfire Face challenge, don't say yes to a cameo before.
That was just
And
so she
then,
could give you a video, get your money, and then be done with it.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, I didn't care for the whatever was going on between her and Debbie Sue behind my back, but
Mhm.
I can prove I didn't stalk her. And, I hope not to talk about this too much longer because it's been so long,
Yeah.
but I don't wish ill will towards any of them,
hmm
but you step on a snake, you're going to get bit, and they stepped on the wrong snake.
They stepped on a
Uh,
python.
yeah, that's, I mean, if anything, I had two wonderful interviews with Ted White.
hmm
I've interviewed a lot of people from Friday the 13th, Part 5. I've
hmm
had 5 interviews with Debbie Sue that I don't regret. I'm happy I've done those. And I'm happy that some people from that movie, like Melanie Kinnaman and Tiffany Helm,
hmm
they like associating with me,
Right.
you know? So I don't know, but I've stalked nobody, and I don't know how all this got started, but I think it could have been solved had their channels been taken outside going on a fucking forum on Facebook. But
Absolutely.
I definitely appreciate Orlando Rodriguez for having my back,
Yes.
and he came out publicly on an interview of mine a couple of years ago, and he was promoting a project, an indie film project he was involved with, but he came out and he talked about it. He's like, you know what? He got tired of seeing the wrong people being blamed for it.
Absolutely.
Like yourself and Rob Mahoney and Kerry Yates, and
hmm
Jimmy Presley and whoever else. And
Yeah.
yeah, so you
Absolutely.
know, I mean, I don't regret being part of 13 Fanboy. I think the movie was fine.
hmm
But I think that Terrifier 2 did everything that they did with 13 Fanboy, except they did it right.
Yeah.
It had the crowdfunding and all of that. And
Yeah.
everything Debbie Sue Voorhees did wrong with that, uh, Damien Leone and the people from Terrifier 2 did right. So,
Absolutely.
yep.
Yep.
So there you go.
All right. Well, thank you, Greg, for coming on this afternoon. It's been great to talk to you, for you to finally let this rest, I guess you could say.
I
Get
hope
the
so.
story out one last time for everybody. I mean, we're really good friends, so I see a perfect ending of the chapter to tell the full story in its entirety one last time on Slasher Scotty.
Yeah. Next, we got to move on to Brett Harris. See how
Absolutely.
he's see how he's doing. See if I mean, he must have a strong digestive system for all that stale cereal he had to
Oh
eat.
my God, yes, I know. If you haven't watched the interview I had with Brett the other day, take a watch at it. It's pretty good. It's really good, actually.
Oh yeah, Brett's awesome. Brett's
Absolutely.
awesome.
All
Yeah.
right. Well, after this call, give me a call on my phone and don't stalk me, but you can you can give me a call and we will do a test of the phone interview on Zoom so we can see if you can get yourself set up with Terry Kaiser.
Okay.
All right.
We
Thank you,
can do
buddy.
that. All right. Take it
All
easy.
right, you too. Bye.
Yep. Bye.